There are just too many commercial loan brokers that don't have a damn clue of what they're doing. All we're trying to do here is better the industry for everybody. At the end of the day, you can make great money in this industry, but in the end, it's all about helping people. You know, people always say, Kris, how can I be a successful broker? It's two words, hard work and dedication. If you don't like talking to people, you probably shouldn't be in this business. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Entrepreneurs in Finance. And in this episode, we are going to be discussing some of the worst franchise opportunities to invest in for 2021 and beyond. And we started out that way because I know most of you are probably Googling that term if you want to invest in a business or start a business. So let me just highlight some industries that I personally don't think are a good opportunity to invest in. And you're probably asking, who are you? Well, my name is Kris Roglieri, President and CEO of Commercial Capital Training Group, but more on that later. But where we basically create entrepreneurs in the finance industry with no experience required. But I'll get to that later. Let's start off with one of the biggest industries I think you should not invest in for 2021 going beyond, and that is the food service or restaurant business, food and beverage, I would say, right? And I hate to say that because I'm a foodie. I love to eat at restaurants, but unfortunately, look what happened in 2020 with the pandemic, right? One of the hardest hit industries were restaurants, particularly when they got shut down, reduced capacity, and some of the great restaurants that we've grown to love in our communities now don't even exist anymore. Do I think it's going to come back? Yes, I do, right? I think 2021, things are kind of lightening up. But keep in mind, we're not out of the woods yet. And I do think that we're never going to return to the old normal. There's just going to be a new normal. And I think we're going to have to battle with things of like new strains coming out and variations of COVID-19, where I think we're always going to have a constant battle here for the foreseeable future against COVID-19, whether we're vaccinated or not. So having said that, I think it's a little bit too risky right now to invest in that industry for the next couple of years to see what happens. As I say, I'd rather eat at a restaurant than own one. And there's numerous other factors why I would argue I don't think restaurants are the best opportunity to invest in. But for the simple sake of they were the hardest hit, I don't think it's a good opportunity to invest in for 2021 and beyond. Let's go for the other big industry that I think was really hard hit, and that is travel and hospitality. Any type of industry that's revolves around traveling or hospitality, I do not think is a good opportunity to invest in for 2021. I think hotels, just like we saw in 2008, right before the crash, they were way overexposed, way too many hotels out there because people had discretionary income. And now I think there's going to be a lot of hotels going out of business. So could you get some great buys possibly on real estate? Sure. But right now I wouldn't aggressively try to open up and invest in a hotel because there's way too many out there. And again, people are not traveling as they used to. Do I think travel is going to come back at some point? Absolutely. We kind of see it's doing that a little bit right now in the beginning of 2021. But again, I think it's going to take a long time to get back to where we were just based on travel restrictions. They're still up in the air whether or not you're going to need a vaccine to travel to certain places and what the requirements are. So I think in the new, what we call the new, post-pandemic, I think people are going to adjust their habits a little bit and maybe not go as far away as they used to. And also, when we talk about travel, travel agencies, I know there's a couple franchises out there, franchises for travel industries. That's something I wouldn't invest in. Actually, those were kind of hurting before the pandemic because these days people really think about it. When's the last time you went to a travel agency to go book a trip, right? These days, technology, you could do it right on your phone. There's a lot of information out there to educate yourself on what are the best places to go and reviews and all that other good stuff. So I think travel agencies are really a no-go even before the pandemic, but certainly now with the pandemic. And so you're probably wondering, well, if you're saying these two industries are bad, are there any good ones? Well, yes, there are a few good ones. I did go over an episode previously that talked about some of the best franchise industries or opportunities that are good for 2021 and beyond. But the best one, in my personal opinion, is Commercial Capital Training Group. Yes, the company that I own. And again, those of you are probably wondering, well, gee, that's very convenient because it's your company. And yes, it is, but it is the truth. In my opportunity in this company, what we do is we essentially create entrepreneurs with their own finance companies to help business owners and real estate investors to obtain capital. What's the common denominator with what we do here? It's capital. It never goes out of style. And in fact, the demand goes through the roof when the economy is great and growing because you need capital, right? But what happens when you pull back capital, when banks get very, very conservative like we saw in 2009 after the crash, and even what we saw in the pandemic a little bit? What happens to the demand for capital? It goes up, right? So if in a down or a down economy or a good economy, capital is always at a constant need, and you're there to provide it. Remember, roughly 23, 24% of small businesses right now are being approved by FDIC insured banks. So where do you go after that if you're amongst that 77 to 80% of people who get declined? That's where we come in, as well as you have options, right? So a business owner, the value they see in you and our graduates that we have produced in over a 12-year span is you are bigger than any one bank in the country. Hands down, after our training, after we set you up in business, you are going to be able to offer more solutions than any one bank in the country because you don't have the restrictions that any single financial institution will impose or have. So if you want to learn more, go to commercialcapitaltraining.com. You can see a wealth of information. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Commercial Capital Training Group. You could see a plethora of testimonial videos and even our famous podcast, Entrepreneurs in Finance, where I interview countless people that have been through our program, invested in the CCTG program, and now are very, very successful. Everybody from the truck driver to NFL stars and Hall of Famers, for that matter. So hopefully you found this insightful. Hopefully you do the right thing. And maybe, just maybe, I'll see you in the future. Best of luck with your endeavors. Thank you. There are just too many commercial loan brokers that don't have a damn clue of what they're doing. All we're trying to do here is better the industry for everybody. At the end of the day, you can make great money in this industry, but in the end, it's all about helping people. People always say, Kris, how can I be a successful broker? It's 2 words, hard work and dedication. If you don't like talking to people, you probably shouldn't be in this business.